Welcome to another video. My name is Robin, and as per usual, I'm joined by Kirill. And today we're gonna do basically the same video as we did last time, but then we're gonna look at the other side of the coin, which is basically which companies might get hit harder by the tariffs than others. Um, so we're gonna give you the following outline of the video. So we're gonna discuss what's in the news. We're gonna give you some companies that will probably not stand the test of the tariffs introduced by Trump. Then we'll go over the valuations of said companies, and finally we're going to give you an overview of what we discussed, and that can be the starting point of your valuation journey when it comes to these companies. So Kirill, take it away. What's in the news?
Yes. The same lovely picture, the same lovely website of The Guardian saying tariffs are coming. Retaliation from the US. It's going to affect a lot of companies. It's going to affect a lot of countries. It's going to affect a lot of industries. So for us, what's the most important part is at the moment is try to be cool. Try to understand where can you get a good deal. So in the last video, we talked about the companies that you can potentially get a good valuation on, and they're least likely to be affected by the tariffs. So they still have a good competitive advantage. They still have a good moat. But now we're going to talk about the companies that probably going to get hit pretty hard because of the tariffs. So first one we're talking about is Volkswagen. And in general, we're talking about the whole automotive industry, about all the cars sales all over the globe, including any American ones, European ones, Japanese, Chinese, whatever. Because the biggest problem with these ones is that they're really aiming for the lower margin consumer base, especially the ones we're talking about, the Volkswagen. So we're not really, for example, covering here Ferrari, because this is more like a luxury product on four wheels. This is like just a vehicle that gets you A to B. And with the tariffs of, let's say, up to 30% that are going to be imposed on EU, this is going to hit Volkswagen pretty badly. And we already can see that situation happening over the past few years, where the company stock was around 300 euros in 2021 highs, and now it's already at $90. $90. Yeah. So it depreciated more than $200 per share in a blink of an eye, literally.
And also with Volkswagen, one of the risks that they have, especially when it comes to these tariffs, and also a lot of manufacturers of cars have it, is they have a pretty big and complicated supply chain that crosses borders constantly. So that's really a difficult issue for Volkswagen. Also, that they are exporting a lot of their vehicles to the US. They do have a plant in the US, but they're also still exporting a lot of vehicles from Europe to the United States, and especially Germany is going to get slapped on the wrist pretty hard with this measure. So yeah, I think, or at least probably a lot of these American consumers are going to have to deal with a lot of high prices for their cars. Just let's go into the valuation and see what price you should pay for your Volkswagen.
I hope very good deal. I hope the trade wars at least are going to benefit the consumers, because they still have to put the margins down. But as we can see, the company is having some tough times with the free cash flow, at least perspective, because it's being negative for the many years behind, and the revenue growth is also single digit as always. So we can probably put, let's say, the projection period of 10 years again. So similar discussion of discount rate and required rate of return. Estimated growth, okay, we can give even like some good projections that there's going to be some growth regardless of tariffs, whatever, sure. Which is interesting to see is the PE is 4 or 10 for the past 5 years, which is the highest part. So, okay, we can even put 10 here just to see, like, okay, what could be the best case scenario of the financial performance of Volkswagen given the current situation. And the margin of safety, well, I don't know. Again, depending on your understanding, it would be really a matter of figuring out how comfortable would you be with this position. But then again, we say there's cutthroat competition. The moat for the company is quite easy to replicate. You could see it an example of the Chinese manufacturers, but you also have other ones on the world. So I would probably also put the margin of safety quite high, like probably 30%, 40% even, like easily. What do you think, Robin?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a per se difficult business to understand, but it's difficult in the scale of, like I said, the supply chains. It's also difficult when it comes to how the shares are divided between the different car companies within Volkswagen Group. So these are, yeah, uh, difficult things to understand. So yeah, for sure, 30% would be fair.
Yep. And then we hit the analyze button, and oh, that's actually quite surprising. That we're already $90 above the valuation. So
Can we also just go back and just do a realistic PE ratio as well, like
yeah,
for
yeah, sure.
everyone?
Yeah. So
So
if
just do
we
it like four or
four,
five.
yeah, let's do five, and then if we're talking about the growth of, let's say, okay, 3%, yeah, and then the rest we keep the same. Yeah, it
Yep.
went down a little bit, but that's mainly because of the target valuation formula. But then you see with the discounted cash flow, it's pretty close. Intrinsic value formula, okay, makes sense, is because
Yeah.
the the cash flows are hurt pretty badly for the company. So yeah, so we would be looking at the target buy price of, let's say, 110 bucks. Then again, guys, what we really want you to know is that keep in mind that these numbers might look good, they might look positive, but this is just the beginning of the big potential financial impact on the company is going to take. So it's really, you're going to probably get like a cigarette butt approach to what Warren Buffett used to do when he was investing in the beginning of his journey. So he would really go for the companies that are really beaten up. He would just try to see if there's a good deal on them, and then load up on them, and then just get the last puff, and then really get out from this position. So if you're happy with this approach, if you're really comfortable and you really understand the financials and the business model of Volkswagen and its brands, that might be a good opportunity. But there are a lot of risks, so that's the only thing for you guys to keep in mind. And it's also applying to the other car companies out there in the world.
Exactly. All right. So next on the list is Adidas.
Yes.
And why Adidas? Well, similar to Volkswagen, they also have supply chains going all over the world, right? Again, it's a European company, so any imports that gonna go into the United States are gonna be beaten up pretty heavily, and so that we have the opinion that the same will happen in this case with Adidas as well. Like I said, it's a lot of countries that contribute to pieces of clothing, and if we're gonna have tariffs all over all over the place, it's gonna be it's not gonna look so good for the consumer, and also not really looking good for Adidas because people might then switch more to Nike, for example. So Gru, let's go to the valuation.
Yeah, maybe just also add up a little bit on that. So imagine, guys, if you're, for example, buying a T-shirt from Adidas or from Nike for $50, and then because of a tariff of 30%, instead of 50, now it's 70, now it's 80. I don't think everyone would be willing to pay such a big price for just a piece of cloth. Of course, there's a Adidas logo on it or a Nike logo, but this is really gonna impact such a low margin industry as well, so similar to Volkswagen. So again, we would like to refrain from this industry as well for the time being, as long as this tariff situation is still gonna continue in the near future. Yeah, so as Robin said, let's go to the evaluation. What we can see here is, again, similar situation with Volkswagen, so a lower single-digit growth rates, and then some troubles with the cash flow. Some crazy PEs, which
What is this?
Yeah.
This is Amazon, Netflix, Nvidia territory, Tesla territory PE ratio.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, what are you paying it for? Probably, again, if you guys are going to check out our platform, you can dive deeper into it. You can check the financials, you can check the graphs, you can check the margins, probably because the margins are so good. The investors are still potentially willing to pay the premium. But then again, is it worth it? Is it justifiable? Does the company have a great moat? This is also something for you guys to do your due diligence on. But yeah, let's dive in. So projection period, Robin, I guess Adidas would be hard to go bankrupt, to be honest, because of the brand. So I would be comfortable probably putting 10 years. That's probably fine. In the meantime, I'll just do the discount and required rate of returns of 10%. Estimated growth rates. I don't even know if it's there. This is just
5%. What's max?
Yeah,
What's
probably
max?
5. Yeah, if we go from a 7%.
Yeah, okay, so do 4 or 5%. We can also
Yeah.
even, I can quickly Yahoo finance this
Yeah.
and check
Yeah.
what the analyst thinks.
Yeah. And then in the meantime, I will check for the PE. So the average PE for the past 21 years, 20 years is 30. But the further we come for the past 5 years or for the past 3 years, we're talking about 50. So again, if we're going to assume that the company is going to get hurt with the financials, we're probably going to talk about quite a big of a decline in the PE ratio as well. So I would assume also somewhere in the range of at least 35.
So they say for next year it's gonna grow. Dude, you want to hear this? 50%.
Oh wow!
50%.
Oh nice! Oh nice. Okay. I'm really, yeah. If I look at the graphs for the revenue and especially for the free cash flow, yeah, I can clearly see the 50% growth. Yeah. Again, guys, yeah. Look at the graphs. Check your valuations. Do your due diligence. Don't listen to whatever people say on the internet, even though they hold some crazy and super nice degrees. Always try to understand that. Yeah, even us. But we are really just an average Joe, just like you. But at least what we're trying to do is to make the approach that would be based on some proper justification of what would be the reason for certain assumption when we do the valuation, not just let's do it 50. Anyways, we hit the analyze button. We see that, yeah, there's some way to fall as well. So we're talking about the average valuation of 117. And if we're going to also put the margin of safety of, let's say, again, depending on how well you know the industry, how familiar you are, do you know what's going on with the competitors, in my case, I would probably put something around 20, 25, 30 as well. What do you think, Robin?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, okay. So if we put let's say the average of 25, yeah, then you're going to be probably looking to heavily load on the stock at the range of €85, in this case. But yeah, again, be careful, know what you're buying. Make sure that you're also not dumping the whole amount of money into that position, for example, if you're interested. So similar to, for example, Volkswagen. We could see some great numbers, valuation-wise, but still be careful because the tariffs are going to impose a lot of threats and a lot of turmoil on the market.
Exactly. And then finally, we're going to discuss Apple, Kirill. So the same with Apple, that, for example, Volkswagen has, it's supply chain based, right? So Apple uses China heavily when it comes to manufacturing. According to Tim Cook, he says it's not about the wages of the employees. I don't really buy it, but his argument is it's due to the skill that they have there. All right, I'm not gonna. In the next 4 or 5 years, it won't be feasible for Apple to move any of their manufacturing towards the US. It's gonna take a lot of money investing. It's gonna take a lot of time. So therefore, we also think, yeah, with these tariffs, Apple is really going to suffer, and we can also see it on the graphs. Our fellow investors, they think the same.
Yeah, exactly. So it already went down from 260 highs in 2024, December 2024. It's already at 190. It's also mainly because Warren Buffett announced that he is gradually reducing his exposure to Apple. Rightfully so, makes sense. He found some reasons for that. Or also just to finally enjoy his well-earned returns on the company stock. What you gotta remember, as Robin said, indeed, is that the company is really hardware-focused. There's, of course, the whole ecosystem around Apple with the services, with the software, but it's all impossible to have without having the hardware. And the hardware is manufactured, again, in China, around 25% of it manufactured in India. Really hard to move it around, as Robin said. So again, be careful with that. So the company is experiencing a decrease in the growth, as you can see, for the past 4 or 5 years. Of course, the margins and everything else is great. You can check probably one of our previous videos on Apple to see more. So nothing really changed from that perspective. But the valuation, of course, was also quite high. So we can check how it's going to be affected by the tariffs, and potentially what would be the good starting point if you're still interested to jump into Apple, regardless of all of these points that we just discussed.
Yep. All right, so for the projected period, I would say again 7 years. It's really difficult to understand what's going to happen.
Yeah.
For the discount rate, I'd say, of course, 10%. You can put the same for the credit rate of return. And then for the growth, I mean, it's fairly low, 5%, 2% over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I think 2% is fair.
Yeah, let's keep it at 2. And then you see the funny part is that the projected PE is still in 30s. And it's not like a double-digit growing company. So that's also probably the reason why Warren Buffett decided to bounce. It's great timing, by the way, because it's at the point when the company is really becoming a cash cow. It's not going to grow in any specific area that much, while you still enjoy quite a high expensive valuation. So he's doing everything absolutely correct. So that's why he's the best, smartest guy out there in the world, right? When it gets to investing. P ratio. We're talking about the ranges of 27. Yeah. Let's probably put it at 30 to keep it realistic. And the margin of safety, again, guys, depending on your understanding of the industry, on the company itself, also understanding of all of these risks, I would also put it in the range of 25 again, just because of all of these uncertainties. When we hit the analyze button, boom, still need to go down. Again, we're pretty much looking at similar numbers as it was for Adidas, even price range wise, but it was in euros. So average valuation of 110 dollars, pardon. Current price is of 190, so there's still some room to go down on this one, with a target buy price of around $85. You can still wait for it to go lower, but then again, if you prefer to go for the approach of the cigarette butt kind of investing, it's a great company. It's a huge company. There's still a lot of customers who enjoy the Apple products, but it's pretty much at the point where there's not that much opportunity to grow anymore.
Yep, exactly. All right, and then now on the screen you will see the overview, which you can use as a starting point of your due diligence, which basically summarizes what we discussed today. And if you want to go deeper and do these valuations yourself, you have 2 free options. You can get started for free, sign up, get 5 free valuations, no strings attached, no credit card info needed. And if that's still too much effort for you, you can check out the demo platform, where you can basically scroll down through all the charts that we have and see if 930 is something for you. And then, of course, we have our paid packages if you like what you see and what you experience. With that said, crew, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.